A very good morning, children. Let's continue with the chapter Development Experience of India, China, and Pakistan. So, we saw the growth story of China. We saw the growth story of China in today's class. So, let's see the growth story of India. So, the growth story of India, in 2017, the GDP of India was estimated to be 2,439 trillion US dollars. Between the years 1951 and 2017, the Indian economy achieved an average annual growth rate of 5.9%. Okay. And there was substantial rise only after 1991. And we all know that the new economic policy was launched in 1991, and the features of new economic policy were privatization, liberalization, and globalization. Privatization, where they wanted private sector also to enter. Liberalization, where they made liberal the rules and regulations of the business. And globalization, where they wanted to integrate the economies and have business throughout the world. Okay. Now, the next is greater reliance on FDI rather than the domestic investment. So, greater reliance on foreign direct investment was stressed rather than domestic investment, because of which there was a substantial rise in 1991. The next, it was because of NEP that the GDP increased around 7% per annum. So it's because of new economic policy of 1991 that we saw a very good growth rate in the GDP, which was 7% per annum. However, in 1914, GDP growth has taken a significant hit due to the following factors. Okay, so in 1914, we also had little drawbacks. Because what were the drawbacks? High rate of inflation. There was high rate of inflation in the economy. Policy paralysis. Now, policy paralysis is a situation where the political leaders, they do not actually come forward and take the proper policies for the economy. Then frequent scams and scandals were there. Drought of FDI, that means drought of foreign direct investment, owing to poor credit rating of the Indian economy. Okay, so if at all our country, our economy has a poor credit rating in the international market, then naturally the foreign direct investors will not be interested to come and invest in our country. Okay. Then coming to the growth story of Pakistan. Now in 2017, GDP of Pakistan was estimated to be 271.1 billion US dollars. Annual growth rate of 14.4% was recorded between 1960 and 2017. Pakistan achieved a breakthrough in GDP in the middle 80s. The reason was that for was FDI, that is foreign direct investment. Okay, so India and also Pakistan understood that if there is no foreign direct investment, then the economy cannot increase its GDP. So in the middle 80s, the Pakistan understood that FDI is also important for a country to grow. Okay, then economic reforms in Pakistan were similar to those in India, but from the beginning of 2008, the reforms which were there in India were also followed in Pakistan, were very similar. But then something which they have mentioned here is, but from the beginning of 2008, Pakistan turned to be disappointing. So what were the reasons for it? War of terror, which eroded the confidence of domestic as well as foreign investors. Okay, we know that terrorism actually prevails in Pakistan. So definitely, if at all we as investors are interested to invest in any economy, we would like that economy to be clean or to be free of any terrorism. So if at all there is war of terror, naturally the foreign investors would not be interested to invest in the country. Then another reason is corruption and political instability. Okay, which is also there in India too. Then in 2008 and 2016, the growth rate slumped to 3.75%. Okay, Pakistan's economy has almost shrunk into a low income, low growth trap. Okay, comparatively to India, Pakistan definitely is below India when it comes to GDP growth and all. So they have named Pakistan as low income and low growth trap economy. Fine. Now, what is the conclusion we derive from studying the growth stories of China, Pakistan, and India? China has outpaced both India and Pakistan, definitely in the terms of technology, in the terms of GDP growth. Okay, China has definitely outpaced both India and Pakistan. India's performance is better than Pakistan, but compared with China, India is way behind. Okay, as I already mentioned, that India is definitely doing better than Pakistan, but then if at all you compare India with other countries also, or if at all we compare India with China, then of course we are a way behind. Then success of China is credited to political stability in China. Unlike India and Pakistan, okay, we have a lot of political instability and corruption, whereas in China there is political stability. China also uses the national resources in the best interest of the nation. So China, whatever the resources are available, okay, the national resources, they try to see that they actually use it for the best interest of the nation, unlike India and Pakistan again. China has proved that the GDP growth is for GDP growth, it's not the availability of resources, but good governance by the state and good compliance by the citizens. Okay, so they have proved that if at all you want to increase the GDP growth of your country, it's not only the availability of resources, but what we require is good governance by our political leaders and also a good compliance by the citizens. One of the main factors to increase the GDP of the country. Okay, so this is the conclusion we derive if at all we compare the growth story of all the three countries. Okay, so this is it for this class, children. Please make a note of all these points in your notebook. If at all you have any doubt, you can always ask. Thank you.